I did do it. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Big Footy Tigercast. Sorry, I was trying my luck with Twitter again, and it bombed me out. It said Elon Musk wants your money. So, hope everyone is doing well. Hang on, I just removed that destination. Save changes. Yeah, no, we're still good. Hope everyone's had a wonderful weekend with round 24 done and dusted now. EJ, welcome back, mate. Good to see you still in the dungeon.
Yeah, it was only day release the other day. I'm back down below.
Yeah,
at Groupie's insistence. So
the lies we've had to tell to get him out on day release, you would not believe the lengths we've gone to have him on this often. So, no, I appreciate jumping back on.
And look, EJ appreciates you having such a sore bum, Michael. So you really come weak in the front, bud.
Welcome back to Tiggs. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, cracking on. But what a fantastic day, like with the news that we've heard at the club. So fantastic.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, we're never short of content this time. Well, usually we are. Usually there's not much to report back on for us, but this year there's actually quite a bit going on. So we've got quite a bit happening, which is good. So, I mean, we'll try our best to keep our answers short and sweet so we can rip through all the topics, but there's obviously quite a bit to get through. But firstly, I do want to say, before we go any further, I want to give a big thank you and shout out to everyone who did come and chat to us and find us outside Gate 3 on Saturday, EJ, Grock and I. It was good fun. There's obviously that really first initial intense moment of not knowing if anyone's going to come and try and find you, and then you look like a bit of a dickhead standing outside a statue with people filming it. But no, we appreciate everyone who came for a chat. It was really good fun, and congratulations again to Elizabeth for winning the football, who dropped the magic tagline, "First now, hear me out." So good fun catching up. We were actually saying after that, for games that we're at, I wouldn't even be against that being a regular sort of meeting point, and we can even start conducting halftime live shows and getting people who are there involved in answering questions and things like that. So that could be something we do in the future, something to look forward to for next year. But no, a very big thank you for those who came out and said g'day. It was good to talk footy with everyone. It was good to meet EJ and Grock as well. Like I posted, believe it or not, that's the first time we've all actually met each other in person. So I'm still yet to meet Tiggs and CB in the flesh. But no, it was very, very good.
Yeah, no, I'm screwed. Unfortunately, one of my symptoms is I can't handle crowds. I can't handle rapid noise, all that sort of stuff. So when that finishes, mate, yeah, I'll be all for it, because as you know, EJ, I've got to have a magnificent pair of legs. So I'm looking forward to showing them off.
The other thing I do want to put out there very quickly, apologies if I'm getting up and down tonight. You might be able to see my dog in the background has just acquired a new plastic cone because she's got some infected eyes. So I'll just be placing her back up on her bed every so often. So apologies if I go MIA. But no, it was good to meet everybody. But what an occasion. We'll talk about the game first. Obviously, a big game in terms of farewell to Dusty, Grimes and Pickett. Along with, I suppose, Benny Gale as well. I know he wasn't officially, I suppose, recognised there, but I think everyone there knows and understands the amount of work that Brendan Gale's done for our club and is always very appreciative of that work. But look, the result didn't go our way. We lost by 28 points, but I actually felt, EJ and Tiggs, I felt the effort was actually there for a lot of the game. And I even said to Grock during the last quarter that if we had have played with that intensity and pressure for a lot of the year, I think people might have been a lot happier at some of the, even if we had lost, but just our tackle numbers were up and everything seemed a bit more positive.
Yeah, the effort was there most of the time. I know I saw Tiggs put some stuff up today. I've probably got a slightly different view on some of the viewing, but look, again, the same people stood up. Rioli was fantastic again. The kids are showing plenty. I'm actually really excited. I know that we've got a couple of tough years coming up, but I really enjoyed this year because I enjoyed watching and looking for the green shoots, to use a Boltonism. But I'm really excited. So I thought it was a brilliant way to finish the year from an emotional point of view. Not at all ashamed to admit that I cried. My daughter was laughing at me. But
nothing wrong with that.
No. But it just got me in the end. But I'm so glad that, it was only my second game this year. I'm so glad that I actually got down. So, yeah.
No shame. I cried during ET. So, I feel you. Look, for me, I don't know. Again, we played an entire game with no system. And I was beat on it. But for me, it's, look, but again, I tweeted out, look, I've given Adam Uso like a free pass this year. It's completely free. I've got my expectations, what I want for next year, and they're very low. We're talking about a very low base of what I want to see. We'll explain that during the show. For me, when we talk about effort, we beat them in every KPI that, disposals, kicks, handballs, and inside 50s. We did 60 inside 50s, one of our highest rated for the whole season. But this explains what I mean about system and why our players look so bad. Out of those 60 inside 50s, we only generated 19 shots on goal, right? So what that essentially tells you at 31%, so what that essentially tells you is the mids or the player kicking inside 50 is kicking into a spot he believes the forward should be, and the forward's not there. Or he's kicking into a position that you shouldn't be kicking to because we're not set up. Either create a shit.
All the kick is shit.
All the kick is shit. But the thing is, it's very easy. And I'm assuming you blokes have played, your local football or I'm fortunate with my prior role that I can speak to people that still, as their paid full-time job, that do professional sport. So, and I just sort of parrot off what they say to me because I'm not a very smart bloke, but they are. There's an actual, EJ, you'll be happy with this because, it goes on your wheelhouse and where your position compared to where I am in the solar system of this. I was talking about the game this morning, getting some news about Bacon stuff. And he said to me, you know what? And I said, they look like they're playing junior footy, right? And he goes, that's a really good analogy. That's what it looks like, Richmond, when you play them. That's why we're so easy to break down. So we don't have any plan B or plan C, where we get out of position so much. Either, one wing is too high, but the other wing is too back. It's a mess. He said, but there's a bright side. He said, there's method to this madness. I said, okay, tell me. He goes, he believes, and he goes, I don't know I can believe this. He said, I don't know Adam, but I believe this because he's the coach and he's allowing this to happen. He said, having a system like this for such a prolonged period is a perfect way to get to understand every single player's natural instinct as a footballer. So if you can't implement a game plan due to personnel or whatever it is, he's obviously said 8 weeks into the season because that's generally statistically when this started happening. If you look back at the data, it was week 8, week 9, round 8, round 9. He's gone, all right, let's see what each individual player, if we give a minimal instruction, just a base level of structure and how they perform come game day. And we'll just let it roll. We just let it roll so we get to see how they go when we're up and we get to see how they go when we're down. And they grade them that way. He said it's very rare in AFL that a coach is allowed that opportunity to but ours is unique because of that level of injuries that we had. He said, he goes, that's what he prefers to believe.
So you reckon that there's been no game plan by design?
No, that's not what I'm saying. If you listen to what I'm saying, EJ, I believe we had a mismanaged off-season. I said that even before the season started. Doing heat training, all that sort of shit just does not sound right. I believe we had some fundamental. He was adding on to what Hardwick had built to make it an easy transition in lay his game plan, and that was it. We really heavily focused on endurance and tradition-type defence. And that broke down pretty quickly with the injuries that we had. Fair enough, because if you remember at the beginning of the year, a lot of our we lost a lot of the key ends of what we needed. So, and it hasn't evolved. That's probably where I'm at, where I'm different from you, EJ. We haven't evolved. So when the injuries impacted and the game plan, basically disassembled, we have, and when I say haven't evolved, you're gonna say what some people say. Oh, but there's flashes. I can sort of see the key. That's not a system that's purposely implemented. There shouldn't be just flashes. There should be buy-in by 22 players that are on that full that have been trained that way to maintain it. And I get that not having players is going to interrupt all of them knowing it exactly is. And that's what's happening on some cases. That's why players look so bad, because some players are leading to positions that they're thinking they're coached. So you get overcoaching happening across some of the lines. Yeah. So it's a mess. But I reckon there's been a conscious trigger about the last 6 weeks where we've opened right up, where he's just really measuring the players more as an individual, not as a team. And if you go back, and I went back actually and looked at a few games at trying to see it on that context, and you can see it. So look at a stoppage the way we set up. We're the only AFL side. I challenge you to do this straight after the podcast, anyone who thinks I'm talking shit, because that's what he said to me. Look at Richmond at the stoppage, any midfield stoppage, any stoppage during the course of the game. We're the only club in the AFL that each individual player follows the oppo at the stoppage. Go have a look at it. Most teams, and we used to be one of these teams, will set up our own formation on a stoppage.
I said that last week.
Yeah, well, I did. Sorry, I was on the show last week. So we'll set up our own formation on a stoppage. And then we challenge the opponent to come to us. And if they don't, if we lose, we at least have our system in place to either retain the ball if we haven't won it, or to launch an offense if we have won it. We don't do that. We haven't done it for about 8 to 10 weeks.
Yeah, and that's why I think you misunderstood what I said. When I talk about the green shoots, I'm talking player by player, not team. Okay. They're two different things. They're two different things. So when I'm saying I see something there in Seth Campbell, right? I think most people do, right? Yep. He's clean, especially on the ground. Now, I'm not talking about him in the system. I'm talking him from a talent point of view.
Okay.
No, that they're two different things.
Yeah.
Right? So
I didn't see the show last week, so I apologise.
Yeah. So I see bright future in players, but I'm not talking about the system. I'm talking about the players themselves.
Oh, let me clarify something. I was just saying it to a mate of mine today. We have a talented list. Even the Richmond supporters that I converse to on Twitter seem to be really pessimistic about where our list is at. Now, I'm with you on that. We are full in agreement. I see a high skill base of our actual list. That's why I'm sort of trying, and I'm doing it a really bad way because of this. But the way our method, the way we play, even Petrarca would look disgusting in our side. You could get a really good quality player and they will look bog average in our side. It's because football is a team game, not an individual game. And we're playing like individuals. That's a very simplistic explanation of it, but that's why I went into defence. I'll go on the Hopper when we have that opportunity, but while I went into defence with Hopper and Taranto, they're competent at the moment because they're seeing you call. But there's a real proof of evidence of why it's happening, what's happening.
And they're also void of confidence too. So that compacts the skill areas. Like the amount of times on the weekend that we sort of set up a really nice counter-attack looking option, then we'd handball it to someone's feet, which we mentioned the week before as well. And we were just killing our own momentum. And it's like, if, 10% of those handballs hit their target, we probably kick a few more goals with some really clean inside 50 entries. So it was there's a few times it was almost there.
Can I just respond to Jay Tiger, right? This is perfect because I said the same thing to my mate, right? Can you light the comment up at Jay Tiger? And this is not a dig at you, brother. I actually was you, right? And I got educated on it, right? So I did the same thing, we've got, he threw it back to me. He said, okay, in 2016, how many elite kickers did Richmond have? In 2016, 15, 14, how many elite kickers did we have in our side? That you would say, yeah, he's elite.
Oh, elite by what standard? Champion done?
I know Jay, I don't want to put words in your mouth, mate, but I'm assuming what you meant elite kickers like that. Someone that can consistently hit the target by foot.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, not many. And the reason why we didn't have many and to struggle to bring up 4, 5, 6 or 7 is because we didn't have the right system. We didn't have a system that catered for the personnel that we had. Did you notice how better we looked in 17, 18, 19 and 20? When we developed a system where we kicked to advantage. We knew we couldn't kick to target, So you had a system where we kicked to advantage. And then from that, what happened? They all started looking better. Right? You could believe in them that they'll actually, whatever they got the ball, they'll be able to. Dustin Martin was an elite kick. That was the only one for me that really stood out.
Deledio was elite.
Deledio, yeah, but he wasn't. Yeah, Deledio was elite. But outside of those one or two, Short was never really considered elite. He was more of a distance kicker, but then it became where we had people set up because he knew where the group was going to set up. So what I'm saying is at the moment what we've got is we've got players that are trained for, and that's why our senior players look so shit. They've been trained for years to kick to a certain zone, and that's all gone to shit because we've got such a disjointed list at the moment. I'm talking about game day. They're going on instinct when they get fatigued. All right, this is where it should go. And there's players they're not there to meet the ball. Another example, it's not our kicking, it's our handballing. How many missed handballs do we do? Simple ones. You don't lose that ability. You don't look good a couple of years before and then lose it. Right? It's because we don't have the system to support it. What it is, it's a team sport. It's not an individual sport. Right? And that it's not the only reason. We had a shit. Anyway.
Yeah, there is another layer to that. There's a big layer to that.
It's conditioning. Right? It's skills. But
you're on a roll. But can I make a couple of points on that now?
Yeah, sure.
Right. So I think what Michaels was saying a minute ago about getting into a good position and fluffing it. Right. It's almost like we didn't know what choice to make, and decision making and making the right decision makes you look elite as well, right? And when you're in sync, because you've been playing together for a long time, you make better decisions because you are more sure of what your teammates are going to do, right? So you combine the fact with the injuries and with young players, etc. So if they're not, so take for instance, everyone says how much Hugo Ralphsmith has improved this year. A lot of it is he's making the right decision. So as our decision-making improves, when they get to 40, 50 games and things like that, they're going to make the right choice more times and the wrong choice less times, which will lead to less mistakes, which will make us look better as well. So that's that sort of next layer down, and that comes in with the understanding you're talking about, Tiggs, and about this muddled, broken system where it's tried to be bolted on and then we've got injuries and it hasn't worked. Now that the decks are going to look like they're going to be cleared, we have the opportunity, and it will still look clunky at times next year, but we're going to have the opportunity where they can build the blocks from the start. And because we've got these players 20 games further down the track, because of the injuries, there will be less mistakes next year.
I agree. It's just getting everyone onto the same page again. Like, we obviously were very blessed and lucky that from 17 through to 20, that everyone was on the same page at a ridiculously high level that was almost unseen. And it's proven with how hard, Collingwood haven't made finals again this year. Like, we've seen year after year that the teams winning the flag are struggling to get back to that spot. It just shows how good we actually were. And that's kind of all we've got to compare it to in terms of recent memory, right? But that's a bloody high bar. Like an extraordinarily high bar. So I think the biggest thing they've got to do in the off season is just to start to get back on the same page as one another. And if that comes down to if that was by design to find out who can do what the best and then start playing to their strengths next year, it'll all end up all being worth it in one way or another. And we're not saying, I think we need to be clear. We're not saying that we're going to be a top 4 side next year, but I think what we're saying is you're going to see, well, we hope, and I think everyone hopes that we're going to see a vast improvement from what we've seen this year, just with natural progression and
I don't believe it was all by design. If we had a full list that were managed correctly, and we'll be playing the way we've been playing, then mate, it'd be abysmal. It'd be worse than this times 100 in alarm bells. But This has given us the opportunity, which is rare. We've been able to look at 44 players come live game day, which I think that's an AFL record. 44 out of 46 players actually get to play senior footy. So we're We just got to. That's why I'm excited about this off season. Because there's no excuses for Uze next year. I felt for him when we got appointed. I'm on record saying that, poor guy's not getting a chance to make his own bed, have his own assistant coaches, have his own list recruited in, because, to actually change the list somewhat so he can actually bring in players with the attributes that he believes will generate, be able to implement his game plan, right? To his game plan, you have a type of prototype that needs to play it. He's got that this offseason. He's got he's got all of it in spades. He's going to have about 5 new players in the club that he can tell the recruitment trainer, this is the type of body we need to be able to, this is my game plan. This is who we're going to need. This is the type of player we need. Go get him.
Yeah, I think he's going to be rejuvenated coming back into the next season, I think.
He's going to have the tools. And all I want to see, this is where I'm at, all I want to see is the coaching department and the coaching group getting a group of players together, implementing a structural game system, whatever it may be, and the players sticking to it and having 2 gears, an A and a B for next year. That's all I want to see. Forget win-loss. That's immaterial to me. But, I just want to see that. And if I see that, that shows us that we've got a coach who can manage a coaching department and get them to instruct the playing list on how to play his game plan. And then go on from there.
Exactly right.
Okay, that's pretty simple. It's because we still had X amount of players, the ones that are injured now, that were part of the old system. Yeah. And you can't just throw that up and you can't just screw it up and throw it away straight away. So the plan was, before the injuries, to use the previous system as the basis and then evolve it. But the inability to do that with the injuries meant everything went out the window.
Yeah, and I think, Reece, it's a very good question, though, Reece, why wasn't he given the chance? I think the other factor as well, from a coaching perspective, is Teague and Rutten were already locked into this year based on the soft cap contract, so he couldn't actually replace them. He kind of had to inherit them no matter what. So we obviously brought in Newman, Zeeble, and might have been one other. But so that's kind of why. But obviously now Teague's gone. My assumption will be that Rutten will go as well. He's obviously got Caracella coming back in, and then maybe one more to finish off his ideal lineup. So for me, 2025 is kind of his clean slate, fresh start, because he gets the setup that he wanted to see. He kind of was doing it with one arm behind his back for a little bit of the season, unfortunately. 25 is his first year for me. I'm just going to completely forget this year happened, and just treat 25 as a new year. And that's how I'm going to run with it. Look, for me, I'd never forgive. Look, I'm loyal as they come, but it was a huge, horrendous mistake we did as a big club not to pay out Teague's contract. Offer Rutten, if he wants to go, we'll pay you completely out and allow us to bring in 2 new assistant coaches last year. But we decided not to do that. Pay the penalty in the cap. We've got the money to do it. We've been in profit. What is it, 6 years straight now? And I reckon if you had to put the vote to the members and to the supporters, are you happy for us to do this? But it's going to cost us X and Y. Majority of us, because you go ahead and do it. But we didn't do that. How much is that? Because Gale's already checked out. O'Rourke went to Europe when all this was going on. Who knows? But hopefully this has taught us a lesson. This is the bucket of cold water in the face to shake us up and go, you know what? We're no longer a premiership club. We're still one of the biggest clubs. We're profitable. We're still technically well run, but we can lose it in a blink of an eye. Let's get our act together. That's what I'm hoping this year has done.
Richo 3-1-2-1, more experienced players leaving doesn't bode well for next year. Yeah, that's probably right. But if we don't make the call now, in 2 years' time, when the draft starts to get compromised, and will be compromised for a couple of years, we'll be in all sorts of pain.
Yeah,
this is the Band-Aid being ripped off, and we've got to do it now. Otherwise, it'll be too late.
Like we saw, we already lived through the effects of having compromised draft with Gold Coast and GWS. Whether we like it or not, there is going to be a couple of years of pain while these young kids evolve and get better at understanding everything. But I think that's where, I suppose, where personally my level of enjoyment will be at watching the games next year, is watching their next step and their progression into sort of making their own mark on this club. But it's I think we should actually try and view it that way. But anyway, enough of the structural stuff. I want to talk about some of the players, some of the young kids anyway. EJ Morris Rioli played his first game for a long time after injury, and I don't know about everyone else. Only had the 9 disposals, 4 tackles, but I loved the pressure he brought to the game, especially there was a couple of repeat efforts out on the wing. And I've said for a while that I feel like, and I hate using this word because of the player attached to it, but I feel like he's our barometer when it comes to pressure. And I was very, very enthused by his game.
If everyone used Junior as the barometer of the minimum effort required in chase and tackle, we'd be all right. And he is the barometer, and the crowd knows it too. Like when he did the chase down and tackle, the crowd, you can hear them as he gets close. It's awesome. It was good to have him back.
It's like the crowd sort of create perceived pressure. I'm not sure how much players out there can hear, but if they can hear the crowd getting revved up, he's about to lay someone with a tackle, it kind of might throw a few kicks off. But it was awesome having him back out there. I would be a huge fan to see him in the midfield. I was a little bit disappointed we didn't see that on Saturday, but hopefully maybe next year we might see him in there in some capacity just for some chaos and some speed.
I reckon it was a struggle for him to get through the game, actually. He sort of did.
It might have been.
So I think that the midfield thing can wait till next season.
It might have been. And Tiggs Bauer, Jacob Bauer, I thought had a much better second game in the side. 2 goals, 10 disposals, three marks. Just it seems like a bit of a cool, calm customer when having a shot. My knock on him last week was he didn't have enough shots for goal. Like he was passing off. Confidence thing, I'm guessing. But I was really rapt to see him take a few shots at goal, including a really good one from the boundary.
Oh, did you see the footage from behind?
Yes, yeah. No, like I've always said, he's one of the. We were talking about good kicks just before. He's an elite kick in front of goal. He's got a beautiful technique. In relation, he's our next caddy. He's our improved version of caddy. We've got a winner here. We just got to persist with him. But he's more of a natural forward than Caddy was. Like Caddy, was I fucking love Caddy, and he's that type of player is completely underrated. But he's got no tank, the poor kid, and it's like typical Richmond this year. We put underdone players. Yep, they have to go in because we've got no other option. This kid's the reason he's not getting enough football is because he can't. He just doesn't have the tank to be able to lead aggressively up and then fold all the way back. He's got to pick his leads. He's only going to do 1 or 2 leads, but he's a quality kid. I'm stoked we've got him. Shots on goal, look, listen, it would be because he's knackered. That's how, just from what I know, and what I think is probably going through his mind, if he feels his legs are a bit spaghetti or handball off. But you're right. But that comes with games played. That comes when he has someone that he's taken a fair bit of pressure off him, that's actually getting the number 2 defender, not just rolling on him, when Lynch gets back in. Hopefully we recruit an elite, really good quality junior forward this offseason to complement him as well. He's a special kid. Just hoping his body stays right, he's managed correctly, and he can play, a good 15 games next year, and then you'll start to see his value, I think.
Well, he was probably the one we didn't rush back in. I know a lot of us were probably calling for him to come in for quite some time because his form was kind of warranting it, but we actually did hold off. So I'm glad we did because we didn't want to make it worse. And thank you to everyone who noticed that my set shot at goal was eerily similar to Jacob Bauer's on Marvel Stadium after the St Kilda Carlton game. I was so happy to be at that game. You just couldn't. I know they ended up making finals, but geez, it was a good atmosphere. But I digress. Who else have we got here?
Well, but just quickly on that was the greatest advertisement for no wild card that I've ever seen. What a great day of football. We don't need it.
No, we don't. I mean, the season couldn't have been scripted any better if the AFL tried, to be honest. Ryan Mansell, EJ, was another one who I really liked. I know, again, he's not getting massive amount of disposals, but I'm talking purely from an effort and energy perspective. Similar to Morris Jr., if half a dozen more took after him, we would be in a much better spot. But 3 tackles, 2 marks, 3 handballs. I think he's kicked a goal in almost all of the last few games he's played. I feel like he's got that one of those small forward spots locked down.
Yeah, he has. He's averaged pretty much a goal a game. He's kind of like a Jason Castagna that can kick straight. His pressure is fantastic, and the other thing is you can see he gives a shit. Like, it really means something to him. Like, he's up and about. He's excited when we do something good. But his pressure is good. He flies for the ball. He's good on the ground. I am wrong about Mansell. I thought, why are we sticking with this kid? But no, he's all right. You can't have 23 A graders. You've got to have B and C graders fill out your team. If those B and C graders bring that level of effort and consistency every week, they get a game.
Mansell's our defensive forward, right? So that's one of you have to have a defensive forward in your side. And I first of all have to, just because I can feel Georgie's spirit in my room. You're completely underrating Georgie, mate. His amount of set shots on goal, any small forward would kill to have as many, shed shots on goal as he did. He's elite. It's a criminal how we treated him in his last 2 years at the club. That's one of my biggest stains in our dynasty period. How that poor guy, he was elite. He was elite. But anyway, this went on about George. Man, I picked Mansell in the first preseason game when I saw him, and because I saw a bit of him as a junior. When we got him at the mid-season draft, I was absolutely fucking stoked. He's an enforcer. That's the type of mentality he plays on. That's what you need. When he goes for a context, he goes to win the ball, right? He'll smack right in, doesn't care who's in front of him, if it's an oppo, and the defenders know that with him. And he's disciplined. He'll play to a task. He's not in there for the glory. He's more for the team. So, I love that kid. And he's going to get better. He's going to get better once we put a system around him and quality around him. He will get even better. He's the only one in our – not the only one, but when he's on the field, he's dangerous, right? You look at him, he's dangerous. It's just, he plays a defensive type of style. So, I'm wrapped for the kid.
And the last player I want to talk about, because I want to push on because we do have a few more topics to touch on. I know, Tiggs, that you wanted to have just a quick view on Jacob Hopper.
Yeah. Look, I tweeted this out, and you only can put so many in characters, right? Everyone's slagging on him, like really giving him the boots. And so I sat back and looked at him and go, well, you got to understand he's a midfielder, right? So part of what midfielders need, they need endurance, they need a tank, they need ability to create their own space to feed off the ball. Or he's not essentially an offensive midfielder. So I checked his junior. Internet's fantastic. So I checked how he was rated as a junior. So his first 2 years as GWS, and then how he's gone to our club. Now, he's been cruel with injuries, and he's actually missed 2 pre-seasons. Not 1, 2 full pre-seasons due to his injuries. So he had this thinking calls me to ramble, so I'm going to try to be really concise. So hopefully I make sense. Here we go. So he's been put back in. He's still not 100% fit. So this guy can win the ball, right? But the problem is he needs players around him that he can feed to. Now, Taranto in the guts helps him. So if you notice the games with Taranto that is in the midfield, his statistically clearances have skyrocketed up. His disposal's really poor. And I feel for him because if you don't train, you're training 1 day a week. It's basically what he's training. You're going to look like rubbish, particularly when your fatigue hits. But he's out there because we've got no one else out there. What he really should have had was wait till he was cherry ripe, his injuries are done. Okay, here's 8 weeks. Is your pre-season. And pump the skills training back into him, but we didn't do that because we couldn't. So all I'm saying is there was a reason why we got him to the club. If we get a fully fit Jacob Hopper to complement someone like a Taranto who is also not he's a forward midfield forward type, which is a rare type you can get. And he's got a tank that runs all day. He's out. If you remember, Taranto was supposed to be our Prestia replacement, right? Prestia was never elite at disposal, but a really important cog. So if you think of it that way, Taranto's our Hopper should be an upgrade of Jack Graham. So we need the pieces around those two blokes, which we don't have. That's why this is really important. And Sonsi, can he take up the next step? Can Dow take up the next step? Is Ross not a winger? He's not a bloody winger. He can be cemented as a midfielder. And plus the elite midfielders we bring in from the junior ranks. You'll see Hopper will get better and better. So I just wanted to say, just ease off the bloke a bit. Imagine if you didn't do your job for 2 years and then you had to go to work for your first day and expect you to be at the highest level. Now, EJ, feel free to disagree, mate.
No, everything you've said is I agree with and is correct. But there's a but.
Yeah.
Right now, at halftime, we were out talking about the game and I said Hopper was really good, didn't I?
Yeah.
And he was good.
The best on ground for us.
And he actually had a decent game. It wasn't a bad game. But what we did talk about recently was with all of this is why I was a K-Mac supporter, was K-Mac will give you effort and not stop. He'll make mistakes, but he'll chunk. There was just a couple of behavioural things and one thing in particular on the weekend which really ground my gears, and leaders cannot do this. It is not the right example for our kids. Now, I know, you know, we all know that we get stiff by the umps. All right, that it is what it is. He argued, he played for a free kick, he didn't get it. He argued with the umpire, right? Play went on. His opponent ran into the forward 50. Hopper was standing next to the midfield umpire arguing with him. The ball went down. The bloke marked it in the forward 50, and there we go, goal. That sort of stuff is not what our kids need to learn. So everything about Hopper not getting a fair run at it and all that sort of stuff, that is all true, correct, agree with it. And I think mentally with a pre-season, if he's fit, he won't have those lapses. But that was really, really hard to watch the other kids in the team see that.
Oh, I agree, 100%. The thing is, I don't believe it's habitual. Like, he didn't do it last year. I think he's just human, and I think he just cracked it. Honestly, well, I'm happy to give him a pass on that. It's not Cumberland levels that he does it every single game. So, but we'll see. But look, I'm really, basically, short version, watch him next year if he gets a proper crack at it. I reckon he's actually going to add value to the side.
All right. CB, welcome, first and foremost. How you doing, mate?
Good evening, everybody. How's everyone going, all right?
Good, CB.
Very well.
Nice, the dulcet level tones. We've got sensible CB tonight. I can't wait.
What are you wearing?
This is the sounds of a man who just failed and didn't get everything you need to get done tonight. I thought I'll just jump on anyway and say good day. So, yeah. Everyone will have to wait till tomorrow.
Full shift tact very quickly. Shane Dunn appointed the new CEO of Richmond, coming from Aligned Leisure, who's been a partner for Richmond for quite a number of years now. I personally don't know a lot about him myself, but from the reading I've done and the people who do seem to know bits and pieces about him, and probably the one person whose view I probably hold the highest was Kiwi Tiger, who posted that it was a really great appointment on Twitter. So if Kiwi Tiger's on board as it, saying it's a good appointment, then that's good enough for me because he knows what he's talking about. So welcome, Shane. Does anyone else here know much about him, and do we have any expectations? Or
I did get a bit of news which I wasn't aware of because I thought Gale did it all. But that leisure, you know how we did with the leisure centre? Apparently that was all driven by Shane. He did all the heavy lifting to get that deal up the ground and then manage it all the way through. And it's been a great success for our club. So, yeah, no, I'm pretty stoked. His first action was he's got me for the next 8 years. But really, I love part of his presser where he said, we need to be competing for finals, consistently competing for finals in a fairly short period of time. That gave me a bit of confidence that he's not going to sit in his hand and go, okay, we're rebuilding. he's going to be going, no, we've got KPIs that we've got to hit. Let's get everything we need to get those. He seems to be, because he's a corporate guy. That's how his brain would be thinking. So, yeah, I'm pretty excited.
Any other thoughts on him, EJ and CB?
If Kiwi Tiger, if Slowy's on board, I'm on board. Simple.
Yeah, that's
I guess the one thing I will say to be the Debbie Downer on the thing, in a worldwide search and something that took 6 months, we landed with an internal appointment.
Yeah.
So
it didn't. It's because our president went overseas, and I'd love the club to correct me on that. The decision should have been done a lot earlier, but it doesn't because he went overseas.
Yeah, I'm just saying, in the whole world of people, we landed someone internally after 6 months. And anyway, look, I hope his results have been fantastic with Aligned and other pursuits he's taken on as he started off with their membership when he first started with the club and working in our marketing team there. He's gone from strength to strength. So he's hoping that it's all success. Blake Carosella is another fantastic appointment. I don't know if you guys have covered off him.
Yeah,
that's really good positive step in the right direction, getting Blake back as well, which will be good for our young upcoming fellas coming through the ranks.
He will be almost our best signing in the off season, I reckon, Blake Carosella. So very, very glad to have him back. Now, I suppose in terms of departures, and I don't want this to turn into a roast of the bloke, we all know the downfalls of this particular department. But Luke Mean obviously has been, well, it's been worded that he's left, but I'm assuming that it was probably told to maybe look elsewhere potentially. But after the disaster we had with injuries, I think it made complete sense for Luke Mean to explore other options. I don't think that position was tenable after however many, hamstring reoccurring injuries there were. But I suppose the important piece here that kind of ties into it, and I know a few people slapped me down for posting this yesterday, but I stand by sharing what I hear for the good of people, whoever wants to listen. But make no mistake, there were a lot of players within the club who were very upset about how they were managed with their injuries, Tom Lynch being one of them. And I'm not saying that he was going to actively explore options himself, but I dare say that from what I can understand, that if Meehan was still on board, or the same team was still on board, that if people were to approach him and ask the question, he would have entertained it because they were very upset with how that all played out. But I do now think that if that department's being overhauled, I think that we'll see someone like Lynch stay on board and give it another chance. But I suppose thank you for was it 12 years I think he was at the club for? But we just simply can't afford to have another year like we've had this year with injury. Completely unprecedented. What do we use? 44 or 46 players, which is unheard of. It had to happen.
Lockie, Grok's just beat me. I was actually going to tag Grok in the next comment and just sort of say that Grok had given us a bit of mail that he got tapped in June. So this move's been on the cards for a while.
I actually did my hamstring reading the tweet that he'd been delisted. So I'm just hoping for, a more positive outcome in the next 12 months.
Look, I'm not his defender, but look, he has been at the club for 12 years, and he reminds me, he's a perfect 2IC. I reckon he's a perfect 2IC. But he's just not capable for the top job. And we've all in working lives, if you've managed in the work that you've done, you have your 2IC or someone that you delegate for a task get done. And he might be perfect at that role. And he must have been, because he had superb operators around him for a good, majority of his career with us. And then it's all gone to shit. And because he obviously was completely out of his depth. And so though Luke has to take responsibility for it, I think it's a bit deeper than that. Why did we keep him in that appointment? I know we like people to do if they're going to fail, try to support them, give them another chance, and there's a part of that. It's good that we've noticed it within that 24-month cycle. We didn't want to get to 3 years to 4 years, and we've pulled the pin. But, because it's been like, it's all blown up. But I wish him well. I don't hate the bloke. But we've got to be, like CB alluded to, about the 6 month search. Hope it doesn't take 6 months. But we should, with the network we have, particularly in the fitness space, get the best talent available to manage our list going forward. And that, for me, is what has me fully excited.
Yeah, we're going to be ruthless. right? We've had people getting poached from us left, right, and centre. We don't spend a lot of money on the coach because he's a new coach or whatever. So we've got room in that department now. Which clubs have the best record with soft tissue injuries and with that sort of side of the business? Actively go and hunt those people like Burge was hunted from us, hunt them down and make them an offer they can't refuse.
Yeah, exactly.
Apparently Peter Burgess from Adelaide is keen to come home to Victoria. Could be one worth exploring.
Well, I'm not sold on him though. On his AFL record alone, because he's been great in the world game. On his AFL record alone, but mate, if he's the best available, take him on board. I just hope we go back to the fundamentals. None of this experimental shit that we did last off season. It's great. Did my head in.
Any ideas on who it is there, David? Do you know a name there, David, at all?
I like that, David. That's exactly the way I'm thinking. I like that.
And I hadn't thought of it the way you sort of put it there, EJ, whereby obviously Uze's not on the same coin that Dimmer was on, so therefore there's a lot more cash to throw at other areas. So I hadn't sort of really thought of it that way. That's a good point.
David has actually picked up on my make him an offer he can't refuse, and he's actually used the words Godfather
in it. Yeah.
Very well done.
And Nick, to that point as well, we do have to start being a lot more aggressive. We've been a pretty easy club to deal with, I think, in recent times when it's come to trading and whatever else you want to call it. But I think now it's about us. It's about getting us back into the right position, and we've got to be ruthless again.
Can we touch on this is going to be his first season? You know how big this is. You know, I feel for the guy. Can you imagine if you were in his shoes? Like
who's this? The fitness guy?
No, the recruiter. What's his name?
Toshe.
Yeah, it's his first. You know, St Kilda. He's used to getting high picks because he was with the Minot club, but now he's going to have the same opportunity in a Big Four club, but with a swath of golden picks. You know, this is either going to make him or absolutely destroy his career. I wonder how he's feeling at the moment.
I think he's going to for all intents and purposes, he nailed the mid-season picks. I know Campbell got injured, but I think Blight's a bit of a winner, and he's got a very, very good track record with these St Kilda players. I know they had some academy picks as well, but I think we're in an okay spot here. So
I'm excited.
Speaking, do we have anything else I had to add there? I think that was the only other topic I had. Yeah, I think that was it. Well, speaking of picks, we should start talking about potential trade stuff, and then we can have a look at some picks that we might be acquiring. I'll start the ball rolling with Liam Baker because a lot of people are keen to hear what I suppose all of us who are watching the game were watching certain plays to see what their demeanour was like afterwards. I couldn't really get a read personally, but there's still obviously 99% of the footballing world that are adamant that Liam Baker is gone. Tiggs, you are still not in that 99%.
No, I'm not. And the reason is, I said really back, if Bolton goes, Baker doesn't. Right? I'm going to stick to that because that's what I was told. Right? So when I'm told things, I don't change it because everyone else is saying someone else. So I know it frustrates people. Why is Tiggs still on? Because the reality is I believe my mate. I trust my mate more than I trust the average punter in the street because he's been so accurate. But from what I've heard is the club is not stupid, right? We had this thing about, the senior players going, Melbourne is a perfect, Neil's time at Melbourne is a perfect example of what not to do. Cut so deep that your list is that young, you can't implement a game plan, right, for years and years. We're not going to do that. We're not going to kill all of our leaders, shoot them all off, and only have 2 or 3 left to carry the whole entire load. We're not that stupid as a club. So he said it, called it back 6 months ago. And for me, nothing else is swaying me from it. He said, Tiggs, no, he called me Mick because that's my name, Mick the Dick, as I'm known in the northern suburbs.
Mick the Micro.
The Reservoir Rooter.
I'm no different. That's what I'm known overseas. Baker will not go if Bolton goes. And that's why I've always been I think Bolton's going, right? So, because this is the thing what I'm feeling. I'll give you a 24-month window. First of all, let's give the club fucking raps. Our cap space is brilliant because the club managed this 4 years ago, right? So now the Lynch, oh my God, his deal so big doesn't mean anything now. We can easily accommodate it. So that's the first point. Second point is the club's still doing that. So I reckon Nankervis is going to Tasmania in 2 years. Right? I'll call that out now from what I've heard. So when that happens, the reason for that, why I think that's going to happen, is the AFL's told them, and I got this news from one of our listeners here, which I actually checked and it actually made sense, that they have to, out of all the 15 first round picks, they have to trade some senior bodies in. That means you'll get a first rounder for next, for Nang. So there's that. But so the club's got is really switched on in that regard. So there's no way they'd get rid of Bolton, Baker, Graham, and I'm missing one other one. There's no way they'll get rid of the 4 kids, the 4 senior group players. There's no way. So from what I heard, because I asked the question before the show, and he goes, no, he goes, I'm not scared at all. He said, is it chance for him to go? Yeah. But he said, my mail hasn't changed. He said, the noise around his work is it's not as clear cut as what's, it's going to be tomorrow. We'll get the announcement that he's leaving. That we've given him a really firm offer. Yes, he's had an offer in front of him. Now we've made decisions down the end of the list. We're doing the exit interviews with, how can I say this without breaking faith? Because I want to save some for the trade show. He's now got another offer in front of him. He's had it now for about they've been going for 3 weeks or so. And yeah, I reckon it's going to happen in the next 10 days. We'll know.
So just because I know this is the question that comes up a lot, people will say, well, because he's had the offer in front of him for 6 months, or a offer for 6 months, hasn't signed it, he's definitely gone. Why wouldn't that be the case?
Because players get multiple offers. They never get one offer. Here you go, make a decision. Let's see how we go. Players get multiple offers as they go along. But again, this is where hopefully this sort of highlights my truthfulness here. I don't know much about that space, right? How it works. But people who do know, thank God I've got a mate that does know. And he's been pretty accurate. So he said to me, don't stress. He said, look, at the end of the day, he said, I'm still of the belief that he's your future captain. And he won't be going. But
funny you say that. Sorry to cut you off, because I'm pretty sure it is David who has said this a couple of times when you've been on. He's been adamant that Nank has played a part in this to keep Baker at the club with captaincy as part of the lure. Correct me if I'm wrong, David. I'm pretty sure it's been you.
And if you go back 6 months, I said those very things. He's identified as our future captain, and not because I know, that's what I was told. So what I think now, there is a lure to go home. But you've also got to understand the rule of thumb. There's no coach at West Coast. He doesn't want to play for Freo because he can't because of Bolton. So there's a bit to play out. And those type of things, you've got to understand, you've got to allow Fremantle now to come to us, which they're doing at the moment. Okay, this is what we'll offer you for Bolton. Right? And obviously, I'm not naive. I reckon Baker's management's at West Coast at the moment and going, okay, show us what it is that he's going to. So they've got to represent, don't they? So that takes time. That's why I got told today it's going to take about 10 days. But he's got feeling. Richmond's already done the pitch to him. Which happened yesterday, I think, or this week. Will happen this week. We've done our pitch. This is how we're going. This is who we're going to be bringing in. This is the future of what you're going to be leading. This is the team you're going to lead. And that's exciting. So I'm bullish.
So I reckon, Tiggs, also on Baker, when you talk about fair compensation if it goes the other way, I think a lot will hinge on the Barras trade because Hawthorn's got pick 12, and I think that would be what we'd be wanting. If Baker was going, we'd be wanting that pick because West Coast are adamant they're not giving up pick 3, so we'd have to take 12, which would be fair.
What I got told is name one club that has traded a future captain for not a first-round pick.
Yeah,
that was his prime age. Pick one club. So you've got people saying, oh, he's a second rounder with potential for first rounder. But his leadership, the non-tangibles, he's worth a first rounder for us. So Yeah, there's a bit to play out. It's not a simple, we're going to give you – some people think, because it's already been done apparently, that Richmond's gone, yeah, have our future leader here. Yeah, we'll take a second rounder. And it's simply been sorted.
But here's the other thing too. Everyone keeps talking about Dan Rioli. The simple reality, if we're going to go and get a bit harder and nastier at the trade table, we don't have to let Dan Rioli go. We can tell him he's a required player.
Yeah.
And
I'll give you a prediction. I'll give you a prediction here, and I'll bank my reputation on it. If we don't get pick 6 for him, he's not going.
They're not giving up pick 6. They've been
very not going. I tell you, I know for a fact that's what's been communicated to them. If you really want him, pick 6. If you don't give us your pick 6, he's not going. And Dan knows this. So it's basically now we call their bluff. No, okay, pick 6. That's it.
But 100, I would have 100%. I would have been very pissed off if we didn't do that. That's the stance. He's contracted. If you think he's worth that much to you to get you into the finals, cough up. We did it for Prestia, and it obviously got us the flag, and it all worked out well for us. So if you want to take the punt, pick 6 or see you later.
Because you said the perfect point. It's about finals, people. It's not about if the player can get you, like we got Lynch. There was no way we were losing Lynch because we knew that if we got Lynch, we'll probably take a flag or 2. And what that means for the club, and it worked. And we gave a lot for Lynch. It's the same. So if Hardwick's is the belief, we need Rioli. We need him. He's ready to go. We're about to take that next step. Slot him in. We're guaranteed 4 more wins. That's the value you've got to look at, not just the play. Does that make sense? You've got to be able to separate the value. So we've said pick 6.
I'm not sure.
I won't do that for you.
I'm not sure what Danny's talking about. CB, you're kidding, not pick 6 quality player, pay up. I'm agreeing with everyone saying pick 6. But I'm saying that Gold Coast, not me, Gold Coast, if you cleared the shit out of your ears, they're the ones that have said that pick 6 isn't on the table, not me. So just clarity.
Yeah, I know it's fact. They've got to give us their first round pick. Their top first round pick.
You just simply wouldn't enter the room if they weren't offering pick 6. You'd be like, thanks, man. And I'm sure, well, I'm hoping that Dan is equally as okay with that. There has to be a level of understanding there that we need to get compensated. Who was the other one? Bolton. We're still, I think we're all still on the fact that he's gone, but then now becomes what is he worth? I think for what it's worth, I know we just talked about digging our heels in for Rioli. I personally think we'll be a bit more flexible with this one because of the reasons behind it. I think we do have, whilst we want to be ruthless, I think we still have a heart as well. So Fremantle currently have picks 9, 10, 17, 27 and 63. Look, I think we would maybe ask for 9 and 10. I think that's a bit audacious. I don't think that would get over the line. But maybe like a 9 and 17 or a 10 and 17 potentially.
Yeah, we're going to ask for 10 and a future first. Their future first. That's what we'll ask.
It makes sense.
Yeah, that's how we're going to go. And that's going to facilitate us to keep Baker in the side, keep Baker. This is the thing with Bolton. I've always been a defender, but I love Bolton. Bolton. I love you. He knows this. And if he stayed at the club, I'll be happy. But I cringed when I heard the amount of money we paid him. Because that type of money you pay a player like that has to be someone you can depend on. Now, we pay on talent, he's worth it. On talent, he's worth more. His ceiling, this kid's a freak on how good this kid can be. But he's not someone, if he could kick straight, we use the term you used before, EJ, if he could actually be converted, if he did his conversion correct, he'd be worth that money, but he doesn't do it. And he doesn't do it because he misses straight in front all the time. And he's a small. So, and we've tried to make him a midfielder, and it's not. Shane Edwards, to me, was worth more money than what we were paying Bolton. So if you can get 2 firsts for him, get a 10, and then get another first pick next year, I'd take it. And take his salary off our books. Oh, even if we pay $300,000 for 2 years, 3 years, or so much cap space, I'd do it. Heartbeat.
He's a cherry on top player when you're in the window. We're not in the window, so let's maximise his value now. And let's also not forget that from this draft point of view, that we're more than likely going to end up with another first-round pick that we've probably forgotten about, that being Brisbane's. Yeah. Because we've got a stack of late picks, and Brisbane need points for Fletcher. Is that his name? Levi Fletcher?
Yeah, one of the ex-players' kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't forget as well.
So they need to dump their first round pick and get a bunch of later picks, and we have a plethora of them. We're in the box seat for Brisbane's first rounder as well.
So the question I want to ask you, EJ, obviously a lot of us probably watched this Fremantle game that just played on the weekend. If you're Fremantle walking away from that, could we argue if you had Bolton, maybe you would have won that game? You're playing finals. Are they at the point where he's the cherry on top that does elevate him to another level?
I think so. Yeah, I think Sonny Wallace is getting on a little bit, and they've got a good core, and they've got a very strong midfield with Sarong, Brayshaw, and da. He is that cherry on top. He can come in and give them that 5-minute flash in the midfield, but be that ridiculous half forward pocket X factor. So they gave up Schultz, who was a workhorse, and that's the one I was trying to think of, Switkowski. Yes, he is an upgrade, but those ones that Grock mentions they're probably more, Frederick and Switkowski are more consistent, which allows them to carry that flashy Bolton type who will deliver when they need it, like he did for us.
So it's a bit of a unique situation for Bolton and Rioli. The two clubs that are after him are two clubs that probably desperately need him to elevate him to the next level. So they're kind of got no grounds to dig their feet in, because if they think they need that type of player and we've got that player, then ball's in your court. Cough up. Well, this should be interesting. Was there any other trade news? I think that was it about.
So can I go back a step? Tiggs, just on Hopper.
Yep.
Then he talked that. Was any? So I did see some talk. Maybe he was in the Lynch category. He was a bit unhappy with the way he's managed.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because it gives me a chance to back up Michael's a bit. You're right about the Lynch. When I saw the article come out, I thought, oh fuck, he's asked it, he's guessed it, and he's run with it. Not you, Michael's the guy, whatever that journal. I think it went Lynch. Purple. There's been you've been right on the money. He's not been happy. A majority of the Grimes was not happy. There's been a few players, not a few, I'd probably say the majority of our group haven't been, not just the way they're being managed, but the way that their injury management has been communicated to them. A lot of false hope. Hope was talked, it's a 2-week car, you'll be right. They go get a scan and it's fucking a lot worse. So a lot of faith got eroded. Now there's a huge pitch from the club to the playing group. We're changing it. We're going to get the best of the best. The dark days are now behind us. Trust us.
So Hopper won't be looking to.
No, Hopper's staying, and Hopper's staying. Taranto's not going. Taranto's really. I know he cops it, but I am so happy about him as a Richmond player, because he's a Richmond man. He's in the way that he's embraced everything about the club. He loves the club back and forward, regardless of how Hardwick stunt to him and Hopper selling the vision that he bailed on. He's fully invested. Loves the group, loves the playing group. That's our key difference. I had an argument on Twitter with this peon, right? He said,
he's a bot. I told you. He was a bot account. I don't know why you did it. It was
anyway,
like 20 followers and 40 whatever.
I was bored, I know. And I said, you're a bait account, but I was bored. But he was going, we're going to rebuild for 5-15 years. I said, listen, we're a destination club, period. We have more. We're a profitable club. We have got a good list. Even though we're losing some players, we won't lose all 4 or 5. We'll probably lose 2, but they're easily replaceable for funny enough, type of play that what we need. So we're going to be fine. I reckon in 2 years' time, we'll be bouncing. And then we go raiding, boys and girls. That's what gets me excited. Mate, mark, everyone bookmark this, what I'm about to tell you now. Bookmark it, right? So, because my memory's shit, but bookmark this, do you think on your computer, Michaels? So you bookmark X prediction, right? So when people say, where did I hear that? And they forget it was me. Put it in the bank. Tasmania, when it comes on board, we'll probably get 1 or 2 first rounders from Tasmania. Right, now Curvis will go. And by that stage, I think we might even give a Vlosten. That's what. Yeah, I'm pretty rock solid on it. But I know Nankervis, I'm pretty more sure on. Bookmaker, fuck! Don't do my brain. Don't do this to me. My brain's doing it to me.
Well, while you're thinking, so that Grok just put an interesting thing in there before, Mick.
Yeah, so
Mm.
Rochelle, we were talking about. Obviously, Adelaide dropped Rochelle after his taunting to the Port Adelaide crowd, which I thought was a bit of a shit reason to drop him. It's an interesting decision, but as soon as we saw that, when I say we, I probably mean the football community, I think a lot of people thought, a lot of clubs may pick up the phone and ask the question. I suppose Grok and I's discussion was, does he not pass the no dickhead policy? But the kid can play. He can play. So has anyone heard anything on Rochelle?
Can I say what I'm saying? Because before I forget it, yeah, sorry. We'll go hunting, right? That's what we've set a portion of our salary cap to get new players in 2 years. Remember our 2-year cycle? I think with the injury at Harabilis, we're going to go 2 years now, 3 years. So 2 years from now, we will be bringing 2 elite players into our club. I'm pretty adamant on. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if it's Rochelle or not. That I'll just be making up fantasy. But because I haven't asked the question, I don't know. But we will be headhunting in 24 months, which is a perfect time because that's when a lot of players' contracts that are quality, with Tasmania coming in, people are going to want to do deals with Tas, and that's when we strike with the salary cap we've got. So,
sorry, not laughing at you, Tiggs. The comment.
Laughing at the miss.
Yeah, I don't know about Raquel, but we will get a couple of quality players in 2 years to make us bounce. So, yeah, it's pretty good.
There's been a lot of questions in the comments about Jack Graham. There's been a lot of people asking about Jack Graham in the comments.
I think personally, I was rock solid he's going, and I know he wants to go to Port as his preference. I can't see it happening with the season.
He was linked to West Coast as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, but without them having a coach, they're a mess, West Coast. And I've heard from a player manager. Yeah, no, they're a mess. They don't know what they're doing. They don't have a system in place, what they're targeting, who they're going for. They speak to 3 different administrators at West Coast. They get 3 different stories of who they're after. So that's the state they're in at the moment. They're pretty bad.
I was reading today, is it Don Pikes, their CEO? Who's their CEO?
Yes, Don Pike.
He was texting the coach during the game saying, have you identified this? Have you seen that?
Yes.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
So
It's crazy.
That's a doozy. That's a doozy.
That's crazy. Yeah, and when I heard that, I'm even more convinced that Baker, the pendulum's now swung back our way again, as long as we tick off a few boxes for him. So, and it's not money related. So I'm pretty bullish. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Look, we'll know tomorrow. If he is walking, we'll know tomorrow. But I've heard 10 days. And I'm going to stick with what he said. Within these 10 days, it won't be tomorrow, you'll hear. And I said, okay. So that's what I'm sharing with you. But it will be within 10 days.
Ben Hobbs, we do not want another slow inside mid. We need pace, baby. We need some serious wheels.
Yeah, we do. We need speed. We need speed.
I have to ask you something, CB. We spoke the other day, and you started mentioning Peter Wright as an option to partner Lynch down forward.
You sold me out, you son of a bitch.
No, but it turns out a couple of days later, I then start hearing that he's disgruntled and wants to leave. Did you know that, or were you just purely speculating?
No, I'd heard.
Oh, okay. I thought surely that can't be coincidental that you've just dropped that. I'm on board with you, though. I was on board with you. I wasn't trying to throw you under the bus. I'm on board as an option.
I'm just most hoping your dream scenario happens. We get lobbed, mate. So that's what I'm.
I tell you what, the dream is alive, boys. Until season. Look, the logic on and Grok. It's the same logic Grok and I are working on with Lob. To be honest, we haven't had a key forward in reality for 2 years with Lynch being out injured. And Peter Wright has played some good footy and has played some crap footy. He's still better than any other key forward we would have on our list apart from Tom Lynch as far as a tall key. He's got more form than anyone else we would have. So at least if Lynch went down, we would have something that's 2 meters to actually aim at that could run, jump, and kick it through the big sticks. So if you give up a pick in the 30s for him, you'd have to and we've got the salary to do it. But the logic is it's about covering injuries because let's face it, this year was an absolute friggin' mare.
Yeah, well, I'd be all on board for getting him in. But anyway, be interesting to see how this all plays out. I'm sure we'll all know a little bit more in the next 2 or so weeks. But
Jimmy Bartell would be a great get, and he had a Delidio poster on his wall when he was a kid.
Get Bartell in the club. He would be huge, actually.
Hear me out. Lafau's coming back off a knee, but I think, seriously, Jacob Bauer has shown more. Jacob Bauer, if he doesn't play in every single game moving forward, is our third tall forward. We've got rocks in our heads. Seriously, the MC should just get out of the room if he does not play and start as our third tall forward. Now that Dust is gone and it's opened up that spot, he's it.
And second to that, if Ross ever plays on a wing again, I'm going to spew. He cannot be a winger. He's either a midfielder or that's it. He has to play midfield. That's my person. He looks lost any other position he plays in.
One last thing, I won't go into full detail here, but there was a tweet that Tiggs did put out on a Carlton post that if it eventuates, there'll be a very interesting YouTube show.
On this show.
Coming to you live next year.
I'll do it on this show. I've got my cap ready. I'll use that. It's got a nice big rim. On this show.
Oh, dear. Anyway. All right, well, that's...
I'll give them contest for someone that Carlton Muppet puts down. Oh, yeah, we'll beat Brisbane. And then we'll go to Sydney and we'll knock them off. And then we'll do Geelong. And then we'll be in the grand final. So, and I said, mate, if that happens, I will eat my own feces on YouTube. So we'll see.
Well,
okay.
2 Tiggs, 1 cup. I mean, what's going on here?
It'd be me and Malcolm side by side chewing into the cat.
All right.
We will reconvene. I think we might try and do a couple of final shows as well. I know it's not Richmond related, and I know that's not everyone's cup of tea, and that's okay. But some people are still keen to hear about normal footy, and we'll probably shit can a few teams along the way, undoubtedly. So we'll probably have next week off because it's the bye week, and then we'll we'll get stuck into some final series stuff. We'll do a trade show sometime before the trade period starts. We've got the draft show with Cameron coming up as well. So there's a few things on the go.
When I start getting concrete, what we can do, what I was thinking is when I start getting concrete mail of what I'm going to hear, I'll shoot it off to you, Michaels, and you can record it or whatever to give people proof. Or when I did it, or if I tweet it to you as a DM and you just isolate it with the timestamp, and then we'll do the show. And also it's going to help the memory, yeah? So whenever I get off the phone, I will call you or whatever you want me to do.
Yeah.
So when we do the trade show, you can then print out the list for me. That will help. And then I'll be able to, because I know I'm going to start as soon as it's always the second last week of finals as the majority of teams. But for us, I think it might be earlier this year because the teams we generally got to deal with are all out of contention. So
okay, fair enough.
So other than GWS, there is a smoking of a dream player that we've mentioned. That's actually been mentioned, Cadman. That I'm hoping, but I don't think would happen this year. But we'll see.
Very
good.
Dream.
That's the dream.
All right. Nick, have a good holiday, mate. Enjoy your extended trip. Hopefully it all goes well. Thank you to everyone for tuning in tonight. Thank you, EJ, CB, and Tiggs for jumping on board. Much appreciated. Now, before we started this show tonight, we were on 899 YouTube subscribers. So if you are on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Let's crack the 900 and try and march towards 1,000. But yeah, we appreciate the love and support. And again, a massive thank you to everybody who came outside the G, met up with us outside Gate 3. I think we might try and do that a bit more often. It was good fun just to catch up and talk footy. We'll do some halftime segments. We'll make a thing of it.
And let's pump. Sorry, you need a plug. His Pink Panther Twitch channel. It's absolutely brilliant. My kids love it because he does a Hello Kitty online playthrough at the moment. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Because I love how you paid it to everyone.
Is it better than his OnlyFans? Because I watched that and it's crap.
No, look, I'm not allowed to watch his OnlyFans. It's just, not good for my heart, my brain injury. It's too risque for me. But his Hello Kitty is just magic.
Very good.
Please. We can tell we're definitely after 9. We can tell we're definitely after 9:30. The ratings changed.
Just to show you, lads, it's all the pink behind him. He's right into it.
That's it. That's it. On brand. But I do also want to thank everybody for tuning in all year. I know it's been a really, really difficult year given the results. It's and especially to EJ, Grock, Tiggs, Carl, CB, anyone who's jumped onto the show this year, and the special guests we've had as well. It's been a bit more of a trying year. It's harder to keep coming up with new and fancy ways to try and describe what we witnessed on the weekends. But I hope we brought some form of entertainment or some form of, I suppose, comfort in what we're doing and perspective, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I appreciate everyone listening and everyone's support, and you guys in particular for jumping on. I know we've still got some more shows to go, but just being it's the end of the Richmond season, I just wanted to give a special thank you because it's been a bit more of one of the trickier years we've had, but I think we've done extremely well.
And just as far as that season goes, we're done.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, thank God it's done. Now we can just shit can other sides who choke in finals.
Understand this. Understand this. If I'm back on for the finals show, it won't be PG rated or G rated. Understand, if I'm going to talk about other teams in finals, it's going to get loose. That's your 2-week warning.
My last thing is a favour to the audience, and audience, please give me the advice. Should I dye my beard? Just let me know. Will I look like a creeper if I dye it, or just give me the advice. Should I dye it or not?
No.
Only if you get the carpet to match the curtains, mate.
All right, have a good night, everybody. A reminder: we will have a trade show and we will have a draft show. Draft show 21st of October. Trade show to be announced once we know what we're doing. Tiggs and I will announce that at some point. But yeah, we'll have a week off next week. And if anyone wants to talk normal final stuff and see CB tee off on people, tune in a couple of weeks' time. So thank you for your love and support, guys. I know the Tigers didn't have the best year, but your support and viewership has been unbelievable. And we thank you very, very much. So until next year, go Tigers, and we'll see you for some other special episodes.
Thank you, everybody. Love you all. Thank you.